thought we found out about a lot of players. I thought Merriweather came back and did a heck of a job. I thought Izzian carried us probably the part of the season, halfway through the season when he was healthy. I thought J. Mac McMillan came on late in the season from a rookie standpoint. We had a lot of young guys stand up, so that was encouraging. We got to find a way not to have all the injuries that we've had and figure out a different way to do things, possibly practice or do other things or how to coach it a little differently. But overall, I thought the competition part of it was great. The games we lost, we were in, with the exception of probably the Denver game. I thought we were in every other ball game we had a chance to win, so we got to figure out how to close those games out. So that was a positive. It's never going to end the way you want it unless you win the Super Bowl. But overall, considering the guys that were down, I think us playing with 6, 7 safeties at certain points and different guys. And the big thing when Luke was down and Schooley had to step in, that was huge. Nobody really talked about Luke being down for a few weeks, but I thought those guys got some experience and really helped us in the end and developed some depth. So going into this year is something hopefully we can build on.
What have the past seasons of having to move on to a new offensive coordinator taught you as you guys move into another new offensive coordinator this year?
Number one, it taught me I don't get a vacation, but the biggest thing is that at least we know we're picking the right guys. You know, it's been different. This one was a little different than the first time because our system is still in place with this one and the coaches are the same, and Grizz was at least here a year, so it shouldn't be wholesale changes. Obviously, there'll be some different things, but you try to pick the right guys, and it's not the right guys depending on how smart or good they are. It's about the right guy picking on how your team is built and how you think your guys can get the most out of what they're coaching. So we try to do a good job picking that and make sure we got the right guy that way, and we think Grizz is that guy.
How much does nil money and transfer portals and college players making business decisions, how much does that affect how you evaluate college players?
I don't know if it affects how we evaluate them because we see what's on the tape. You know, then when you meet them in person, you want to make sure the attitude affects the tape. Some of those guys make more money than they probably make in this league, so that would be hard to do. But the guys that are coming out that can really play and love to play, you just evaluate them off their play. College is a whole different deal right now with the NIL and everything else. So believe me, I got 2 sons in college. I understand it very well, and it doesn't affect how we pick players, though. I'm sorry.
When the NFL world is coming up with a quarterback, how do you know you need to how do you evaluate?
It all depends on how you're teaching them. I think everybody's different. Every team is different when you get a quarterback, and you have to kind of groom him to see. You got to have a vision for him, and you got to put guys around him to help him make plays. I don't think any quarterback can do it by himself, although Mahomes kind of dispels that notion. Most of them cannot. You give him time. You give him a lot of time, and you see how he grows. And, you know, if he's growing the right way, you kind of stay with him. That doesn't mean you're winning, but if he's growing the right way, you kind of keep it that way.
Tom, you look at the linebacker position, it feels like we haven't seen a ton of talent at the top of the draft. Really, since you guys took Devin White high in the draft. Do you think it's just been a bad run, or is that something that's about the state of the position right now in college football?
I think it's the state of the position. They're good football players at linebacker coming out in the draft. They're just not going as high. You know, between the quarterbacks, the tackles, the edge rushers, the corners, and the receivers, they kind of make up the bulk of really the top 10, so to speak, if you will. But there are good linebackers coming out. You're just not getting them as high. Well, if he's got the good staff around him, Liam's a bright guy. He understands football very well. He's hired a bright staff around him. Just doing what he's been doing, just expanding his knowledge to the whole building instead of the offensive side. I think he'll be fine. Say that again? Oh, they're getting a heck of a coach. He understands football inside out. Me and Casey's been together for 15-plus years now, and he's like a brother to me. Understands the game very well. Dan's been with us in Dallas and Miami, so they know each other already, so he should be fine there. They're going to get a very smart coach, a very tough coach, a very disciplined coach.
Besides players getting healthy on defense, what else do you need to see from that side of the ball?
We got to do a lot of things. Very disappointed in the way we went after balls this year. We didn't get our hands on enough balls and get a lot of turnovers. I don't think we rushed the quarterback as well on the outside, on the edge, so we got to get better at a few things, and we missed too many tackles. Extremely smart coach. He's been in the college and the pro level, knows a lot of the guys that were already on the team, very good schematically, very energetic, and he can get the guys going. He's a good fit for the building. With Casey leaving, it was important for me with Grizz as a young head coach to try to spend some more time on offense. So making George the pass game coordinator take a lot of things off my plate that way. With Caldwell coming back, having been in the system and being available, it does a heck of a job for us keeping all the guys intact as far as schematics, and then putting Foot back on the outside. He was on the outside before we moved him inside. He did a hell of a job there. So between the three, we got three good guys right there that are also coordinators that can really help out. And the smarter we are on defense as a coaching staff, the better we are.
Coach, can you spend more time on offense? Is that something you see lasting all the way through the season, or is that more of a summer thing? Is that
It's a spring-summer thing right now, just things and situationally. We've done a good job of getting guys ready to call plays. We understand Dave didn't call plays when he was here. So I've got to do a heck of a job making sure Grizz is ready and making sure all that stuff is taken care of from an offensive standpoint. Not that I'm going to be inserting myself in the offense, but from a practice schedule standpoint and situations that we work on, got to make sure he goes through everything possible before we get to week one.
Linebacker is a bit of a question going into this offseason, but you mentioned Rossi kind of got hurt last year. But what do you think his status is going into kind of this season? And how do you think he can improve and get a bigger role in the defense?
Well, the number one thing is just being healthy. If you can get him healthy, he had a role on defense starting out the season, but he got injured right there. So coming back with surgery, hopefully he doesn't have any more injuries. He'll be right in the mix to play a lot of plays for us.
Todd, which position groups stand out to you going into this combine?
For me, I'll be very interested in looking at a lot of guys on defense, obviously, the edge rushers, the corners, and the inside linebackers for me, which I'll be looking at. But I'm really interested in the wide receivers as well. Well, Jason's been working on that. Obviously, Chris is a great player, and I love him to death, and we want him back here every way possible. Obviously, we got to heal, and there's medical things going on right there, and they're trying to work through that. But hopefully we can get him back because he was on the tear before he got hurt.
Did Chris show you his rehab from that torn ACL and that torn ACL gives you the confidence that he can do that again? This is another right now.
If there was anybody on the team I thought could come back from an injury that I would pick, that I would bet on, it would be him.
And why is that?
Because of his work ethic, his confidence, the way he attacks treatment, the way he tries every day to be the best he could be, he's probably the best at it on our team.
There's been a lot of talk about the relative value of the running back position going up last year or so. How much do you think Bucky or himself enjoyed that conversation?
Say that one more time, sorry.
There's a lot of conversation about the relative value of the running back position being going up. How much do you think what Bucky was able to do for you guys is part of that conversation?
I mean, I don't know if it's gone up a lot. You got to run the ball more. I still think it's a two-headed attack in this league nowadays. One person really doesn't get all the carries, but Bucky's helped us immensely. He's come in from getting a few carries at the start of the season to being the bell cow at the end of the season. I thought he's come along a great deal, and we haven't had a real running game here in like 6 years. So with Bucky coming in along with Rashad, and they had a 1-2 punch, I thought they were very effective.
Bucs had one of the highest pass rush rates in the whole league last year. You mentioned still wanting a little bit more from a pass rush. What do you think needs to happen on defense to get more efficiency in production?
We got to do a better job rushing four. We can get pass rush with pressure, but you don't want to pressure all the time. I think we got to do a better job with four.
Not every rookie hits the ground running. What excites you most about Chris Braswell maybe making that second-year jump?
Just seeing him at the end of the season playing faster. We knew he was physical, but it took him a while mentally to get everything down. Just knowing he's got a year under his belt and he can come in without thinking and play faster, that excites me. It doesn't reaffirm it. We've been talking about it all year. You know, we can cover guys, but when we don't get there, sometimes it's a problem. And sometimes the quarterback got out the pocket, and we did get there, and the ball was out. I'm not saying it was all the time, but you just want to be able to do both.
Coach, how long did the playoff loss stick with you? Was it how long until you could shake that?
It probably still sticks with me, but it affects me differently. You know, you're pissed off at first, and then you got to try and get better and do things to try and get better so that doesn't happen.
Your thoughts on your entry? I know you've held some positions previously. It's not just relegated to one position. You might move guys around. Just your thoughts on where he's at right now.
I think Joe did everything right for us except get to the quarterback on a consistent basis. I thought from a run standpoint, he was fine. From a drop standpoint, he was fine. From a toughness standpoint, he was fine. He did everything asked of us that we could do. Obviously, when you think edge rushers, you want to think get to the quarterback first, and that didn't show up from a double-digit standpoint. And some of it we drop differently than normal teams, and some of it you got to turn the corner at some point. But just rushing the passer a little bit more will be the only thing. Everything else he did okay.
Anything else? There's always been highly desired positions in certain positions. Corners under 5'10" are exceedingly rare. What does a corner who's 5'9" what traits do they need to outside?
Speed, toughness, tenacity, and leaping ability.
What's the team's reaction, players' reaction, Baker's reaction to Grizzard getting position?
They were excited about it. You know, I talked to Baker beforehand, told him what we were thinking about. Obviously, I talked to Tristan and all those guys, and everybody was all for it. They have a great relationship with Grizz, and they look forward to it.